Hey everyone, welcome back to String Cheese and Applesauce, where today we are going to do a mock where we are going to take the Lego Creator Bike Shop and Cafe. So this is the bike shop, this is the cafe, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify this set to more or less fit in a modular style city. So my city, my custom Lego city, is fully modular, it's fully custom. So what I'm going to more or less do is create these buildings to fit in my city. Now, how do we start? We start with the 16 by 32 base plate, and we have the Technic pins set 9 studs in, basically on each side. That's the modular standard. So that's more or less the standard that all of the Lego modular buildings are built to. So I have this one that I'm going to use for the bike shop, and then I have this one here that I'm going to use for the cafe. So if we look, the cafe is already 16 studs wide. You can see the width already matches the width of this one. Now the building itself is 3 studs short on the Creator version. So this version that I'm making for the modular city actually has to get wider by 3 studs. And then the bike shop, you can see, is narrower than the 16 studs. It's actually, let's see, 12 studs wide. So this one actually has to get 4 studs wide. So they're both going to get a little wider. Also, they're going to get deeper. You can see if I built this same footprint kind of on this modular standard, it wouldn't even reach the second Technic brick. Same with this one over here. You can see it's not a very deep building. So not only does it need to get a little bit wider, it needs to get a little bit deeper. So what I plan on doing is actually starting about 1 stud beyond this Technic brick and then stopping about 4 or 5 studs back from here. So we're going to extend it about 6 to 7 studs deeper. So we'll determine, basically we'll use some of these as some roof pieces, and we'll determine what the actual width is going to be, because when you build your layers, you more or less want those levels to come off in equal little portions. So on this one, we're basically going to continue the architectural style of each one of these buildings. We're just going to modify it to fit our footprint dimensions. What I probably won't do is put windows on the sides, because we're going to have buildings right against each other. So we don't need the windows on the sides. Also, anything on the side here basically has to move somewhere else. So I am going to have some stairs coming in the back, and in the front we'll have the little cafe entrance area for both of them. And then same for the bike shop. It's more or less just going to have the same style, just wider, and windows won't be on the back, but the sides, they'll be all on the back. And the Creator versions, they open like this, and if you've built any modulars, you know each level removes from the top, so there won't be these hinge bricks used in the actual opening of the set. And they may be used somewhere else in the set or in my mock, but they won't be used to actually open the building. So next question is, how am I gonna build it and kind of use these as references? Easy. I'm gonna slowly take these apart, but I'm gonna start building the footprints with this. And you're looking at it going, well, that's what you already have built. Well, this is an additional copy. So I actually bought 2 of the Lego Creator bike shop and cafes, knowing that this was what I was going to do with it. And of course I got them on sale, so I got 1,000 pieces for about 5 cents a piece. So I think I paid $45 to $50 for each one of these sets. So that's about 5 cents per piece, which is a pretty good part per price ratio. So I'm gonna open this additional creator set, start to build the footprint of the two MOCs, and as I need pieces from these two, I'll take them apart. And I'm also going to use any additional pieces that I need just from my personal collection. The key thing that I'm trying to focus on with these two MOCs is I want to mimic the architectural style of these. I'm not trying to make a exact replica. This is going to be more or less my twist, my spin on it, something that's actually going to fit this footprint. It's not going to be, well, if the piece isn't in the set, I can't build it. That's not the way this is going to be. It's going to be, okay, let's match the style, use as many pieces as I can, because all the pieces, or most all the pieces I'm going to need are in the box here. But if I need something else, I'm just going to pull it out of my personal collection. So let's go ahead and get this started. All right, so I've opened the box, pulled out all the bags, and I've seen this before. It's pretty rare, but it has happened. One of the bags actually has a rip in it, and there were some loose pieces in the box. It's no big deal because the box was nice and sealed up. There's no way that any of the pieces escaped, but found that kind of interesting that the seal broke. And you know, all of these bags are just jammed full of parts that I'm sure just the shipment of it, and they're moving around and bumping into each other, it probably just kind of busted that seam a little bit. You can see the hole is not that big, and it's right here where they've heat sealed it together. So kind of interesting. I wanted to share that. So what I'm going to do is more or less open all these bags, get the parts semi-sorted, and begin the base of these MOCs. Alright, so here is where we are at so far. We've started the bottom portion of the modified bike shop. So you can see how we have the dark bluish gray at the bottom with this maroon colored band going around it. So that's more or less what you're seeing here. We've got the dark bluish gray with the maroon band. There's these little grilled molded pieces that came in the set, so you could throw a couple of those along the base and it'll look like some sort of exhaust or floor vent or something, or basement vent. So that's the beginning of the bike shop. And then same with the cafe, just continuing the same color scheme from the original set. But what you can see, what we've done is we've made them wider and deeper. So what I'm going to start doing now is building a little bit of the interior out. Now I'm not going to go all crazy on the interior because I kind of like less is more. It's bad enough a lot of the Lego buildings are so cramped. I'm going to try to make them not cramped and actually leave a little bit of floor space. So something that this set did not come with is a lot of interior details. Now granted, there's not a lot of interior in here, but the other thing you see, there's no floor tiles or anything representing flooring at all in here. So I need to more or less put some sort of tile down. So those type of pieces will come from my personal collection. What I will do is use some of these minor interior details and just expand on them inside of this one. So same with the cafe. There's really nothing in here. There's no, oops, opening it the wrong side. There's no floor tiles. A little bit of detailing in there. So I'll just expand on the detailing, basically add some more to it, and add additional floor tiles. So that's where we're at. So here we go. Oh, and one thing you may have noticed that I did is these two buildings you can see in the back, they're pretty much symmetrical with a big window on the left and a door on the right. Big window, door. I've actually kept one that format, but I'm flipping the other one. That way there's a little bit of variety on the kind of the front of, as you're looking down the street, it's not the same repeating pattern all the way down. So either I can connect them like this with a little modular standard, or I can connect them like this, and you can see it creates a little bit of variety. So the two doors on the opposite side, or put it like this, and you have two doors right next to each other, and they're kind of offset too. So that having two doors right next to each other doesn't really bother me too much, since they are offset, and you won't really be able to tell that they are, or you will be able to tell that they are separate buildings. So that's one kind of major change, even though it's really just flipping it. It's not, architecturally, it's still going to look the same. So let's continue on. Oh, one other detail in widening it, what you can also do is you more or less have two studs and then your 6-stud window, and then you have two more studs and then your 4-stud door, and then two more studs. So it adds a little bit of symmetry and balance to it, versus the smaller one just had 1 stud, door, window, 1 stud. So it's really, really cramped. This spaces things out and gives it a little bit more of a better proportion, in my opinion. So same thing over here, it's just flipped. You got 2, 4, 2, 6, 2. So here we go. We're gonna keep on going. Here's the progress so far. So I've got the interior pretty much started on the bike shop. So what it's more or less going to be is this little entry area that customers can come in and either drop off or pick up their bike. And what I'm going to do is leave the floor tiled right here, and then the rest of the shop is just going to be the concrete. So it's just going to be this dark bluish gray base plate, just left the way it is because it's a shop. So there doesn't need to be any kind of fancy finishing or anything in there. So I've made this extra big work area. So this was not like it in the smaller one that the creator set came with. And I also made this little dock double wide, or actually triple wide. It was just 1 stud deep, and I made it 3 studs deep. And then you've got two of these little ramp pieces here. So I've extended this out, made a workbench. You've got all your tools right here, a little area you can hang the bike on, and then the rest of the space is the workshop area. So you've got big space to have your bikes that are waiting to be repaired or waiting to be picked up. So the bike on the window is the exact same one that's from the original creator shop. So have a door that's going to go back here, and then I'm going to start building the walls. So you may notice in the background here that this is the top of the building that came from the creator. What I've actually already done is I've already pulled the bottom portion off, and you can see I started to pull pieces from the original bike shop that I used in the MOC that I'm doing. So this is kind of what I was talking about, that I'm using both sets to create this custom one, but I'm gonna have to pull a lot of pieces from the ones that are already built. So I pretty much know how I'm gonna do the first level here, so that's why I went ahead and pulled the first level apart. So now I'm gonna continue on. I'm gonna try to get this first level complete, and then I'll move over to the coffee shop before I start moving on to the second levels. So you can see there's parts everywhere. This is more or less my building style when it comes to building MOCs. I have the base models that I'm working on right here, and then I usually keep all of the pieces around that I'm using. So I have been going back to my stash and pulling small parts that I need here and there, but for the most part, if I don't need them, I just like throw them off to the side. Like these two were pieces that I went and grabbed. I ended up deciding not to use them, so I just pushed them over here to the side. And usually when I'm done mocking, I will sort and put away everything where it belongs. But since I'm combining two sets into one big one, I more or less have it all kind of spread out right now, and I can easily find what I'm looking for. So I'm going to continue the first floor, going to build the walls of this, and you'll see that here in a second. All right, so let's look at the progress so far. This is the first floor. It's about 99% complete. So if you remember the original, you could tell that it looks pretty close. I have made some modifications. So what I did end up doing is using some windows on the sides when I originally said I wasn't. The reason why is I used pretty much all of this sand blue color or light blue color from both sets just for this first floor. That's how much it grew. And I don't have much of that color in my personal collection. I pulled the few pieces that I did have, and it just wasn't enough to completely fill out all the walls. And that's even with using some of these light bluish gray little grooved pieces throughout. Still wasn't enough blue, so I ended up putting some windows. That's okay because the buildings next to them will more or less block those out. You really won't be able to tell from the inside. It won't be that bad. So there's a window on the back. There's our dock door on the back. I did use the other door on the inside here as a wall panel. It is a plate shorter, whereas this one's standing on top of a plate. This one's actually down one, so it renders this door inoperable because it hits those studs back there. So that's okay anyway because it's more or less just a wall panel. So I kind of like the way it looks anyway. So that's the whole inside. And then the original model had this little ladder that goes up to the second floor. So that's how you get to the second floor loft, is that ladder. It is a little bit low, but it's okay for now. So you can see I have my tiles around here. So this more or less completes the first floor, and you can bring your second floor level over there and put it right on top. So that's the first level of the bike shop. It's complete. The original one did have this little slope detail. I originally wasn't too fond of it, but I'm gonna compensate for that by making the windows overhang a little bit out here. There's you can see these little slopes here. So that's the detail that they have on there. But I'm gonna overhang the windows like this so it'll make it not look so bad. And I mean, it doesn't look that bad, to be honest with you. Anyway, that is let's see, I'm looking at it now. I may actually change that a little bit. Now that I'm looking at it, I have an idea on it. So one of the main things that I did accomplish or do was I did add an extra layer of little clear story windows right above the main door and window there, and that was not on the original shop. So here's the picture of the box. So you can see it went windows, little awning, and then the second floor above it right there. So it's missing something right there in the middle. So now that I'm looking at this, I do have an idea on what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to slightly change this detail right here, but it's done. Next up is going to be the first level of the little coffee shop. So I am going to stop this video right now just to kind of make these videos somewhat shorter and watchable. So I appreciate you guys watching this. I'm going to try to complete these videos here in the next couple days. So I'm done building for tonight, and I will pick up the building tomorrow. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss all of the other parts. Appreciate you guys watching. Give me your thoughts and comments on this little mock that I'm doing. Oh, one other thing I wanted to show you is on the floors, what I like to do is put these little inverted, little round tiles on the corners. That way when you put the next level on there, these tiles or little tile pieces, like if you miss on accident, if you're like way over here, what it wants to do is it kind of centers it automatically for you, so it kind of pushes it down. So that's a cool little detail that I like to use on every custom modular that I do, is I put these little round tile pieces on there. That way the level more or less finds the right spot and goes on there real easily. Because when I didn't used to do it, I used to sit there and do this. And I was like moving it, trying to line up the studs, and you get it lined up, and it's not lined up on the other side, and you're just getting all frustrated. Well, simply putting these on there more or less lines it all up for you. See, it's lined up right now, and all I gotta do is push down on it. So, cool little detail. Anyway, tell me your thoughts. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the other parts of this MOC build that I'm doing. Appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time.